Being different, it sounds like it should be a gift, a mark of individuality. But in the world we live in, being different often feels like a curse. This is the central message of Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis, a story that isn't just about a man who turns into a giant insect. It's about the loneliness, rejection, and despair that come with not fitting in. So, let's dive into this haunting tale and uncover the brutal truths about what happens when you are marked as other. The story begins with one of the most unforgettable opening lines in literature. When Gregor Samsa woke up one morning from troubled dreams, he found himself transformed in his bed into a monstrous vermin. What makes Kafka's opening so powerful is how he immediately shifts focus. Gregor doesn't question why he transformed. Instead, he worries about being late for work. This reaction sets the tone for a story where the real horror isn't Gregor's new body. It's the way his humanity is erased, little by little, by those around him. The first curse of being different is isolation. Gregor's transformation strips him of his role as a provider and protector. His family, who once depended on him financially, now view him as a burden. At first, his sister Greta tries to care for him, but even her kindness is tinged with disgust. She brings him food, but avoids looking at him. She cleans his room, but only out of obligation. As days turn into weeks, even this faint kindness fades. Gregor is left alone, locked in his room, an outcast in his own home. This is the reality Kafka forces us to confront. When someone no longer fits society's mold, when they become too different, they are shut away, forgotten. The curse of isolation is not just physical, it's emotional, spiritual. It's the slow, suffocating realization that no one sees you as you once were. Isolation doesn't just come from others, it seeps into your own mind. The second curse of being different is self-loathing. Gregor begins to internalize the rejection of his family. When he first wakes up, he tries to adapt. He learns to crawl, to hide, to survive. But over time, the shame takes its toll. He stops eating, losing interest even in the small joys of his new existence. He becomes a prisoner not just in his room, but in his own thoughts. Gregor hides himself not because he's afraid of being attacked, but because he believes he's unworthy of being seen. But here's the twist. While Gregor changes physically, it's his family who undergoes the more disturbing transformation. At the beginning of the story, Gregor is the backbone of the household. He works tirelessly to pay off his parents' debts and support his sister's dreams. But when he becomes different, his family's love is revealed as conditional. They no longer see him as a person, only as a problem to be solved. His father's attack is one of the most heartbreaking moments in the story. It's not just physical violence, it's symbolic. The father is trying to erase the reminder of his son's difference. And when Gregor dies, it's treated not as a tragedy, but as a relief. His family celebrates their newfound freedom, unburdened by the curse he represented. Kafka's The Metamorphosis is more than a story about a man turning into an insect. It's a brutal commentary on how society treats those who deviate from the norm. Gregor's transformation could represent anything: physical disability, mental illness, or even a refusal to conform to societal expectations. The message remains the same. Difference is seen as a threat, and instead of empathy, the world often responds with rejection, fear, and cruelty. But Kafka doesn't just leave us with despair. His story is a call to action. It forces us to ask, what kind of world do we want to live in? One where being different is a curse, or one where it's a strength? Imagine if Gregor's family had chosen to support him, to embrace him, to see him as more than his appearance. Imagine if our world did the same. To anyone out there who feels different, know this: you are not alone. The world may not always understand you, but your difference is not your curse, it's your truth. Together, we can create a world where every Gregor is seen, valued, and loved for who they are, not for how well they fit in.